Welcome to station WEFUNK, better known as Me Funk.
You're listening to WEFUNK, better known as We Funk. Audio therapy from the bass. Deep tones vibrate your bones. Beats bouncing like a bad check on both decks. 1200 techs with the funk. About to wreck your headphones. It's We Funk.
What you gonna play now?
He said, I'm sorry that it had to go and be that way. The way I choose it to be, I'ma come clean. You got a string along with the way you choose to move in my head. It'll always include you. Straight in my
Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Lance here. It's been a while. It's Sunday afternoon here in the UK, and I was just going to do a little bit of streaming. Lately, I've been playing with Mojolicious, and I've been porting the little judo project I've been working on from Dance to Mojo, just for, well, basically just to play with Mojo, really. So I was going to do a little bit more of that today. I'm going to do a blog post about it on the Perl.Kiwi site at some point. So I'm just going to get a bit more mechanical memory on it. And then I'm going to go from there. Cool, so I'm just going to switch over. I'm using VS Code at the minute. So let's see how this goes. That's better. I've got some audio now. It's, I think I can zoom, right? Might be easier to see. Yeah. How tight. Cool. Just leave those running in the background. So the t-tests, I see the judo ones were directly from Dancer 2. Where I'm at is I'm just porting. I've done a little bit of porting, so I've done the git root, and I'm just going to do and then post root. Okay. And this is the original. I have the original test here and my new tests here. You can see the difference if I scroll up to here. So this is the original in Dancer 2. So use strict warnings, test 2 v0, and I'm using plaque test and HTTP request common. Load up the library. Don't think I actually need that. Load up. The way I did it in Dance 2 is I had each of the roots was a separate app. So that's the web app for the judges part. And then my subtest was getting judges get. So first thing you did is you just initiate it with 2_app. So this library here, this judo kata competition data is just mocking out the bit that talks to the data, to the, what do you call it? It's SQLite in this case, and it's just returning when you call, there's a method there called judges, and it just returns us an array of hashes of all the judges. And in this case, it's just returning one, Mr. Dennis Penfold, who's, I don't know, 30 minutes in the other direction from me, one of the venerable names in British Judo. And it just says that his name, what country he's from, and which kata he does. And then you create this test, and then you create a get request, and then you check that it's okay. That response has the word judges. It has something that says add new judge. It's got his name, his kata, and this is basically just checking for a link to the delete. And if we look over here, this is the equivalent test on the Mojo side of it. What's that little dot up there? So yeah, so we use Mojo base strict. I'm using test 2 v0 plus test Mojo. A little difference here that in this version, in the Mojo version, it's all one app. I could probably do something clever with plugins, but I'm not quite there yet. So I just create this kata app, which is sort of the equivalent of what I was calling dub. I may rename it because I kind of like it that way, that what I was doing with the other one, because I may port this to something more portable or sort of desktop based. My app is the dub app, and anything under judo is actually, so if you look over here on the right hand side, I sort of structured the libraries in here as I had the judo stuff, which had judo kata competition, and then it had, so those are the sort of kata competition specific stuff, and the dub was just for the web app itself. I like that separation concerns. In the Mojo one at the moment, I haven't done that because I'm sort of following the shape of a Mojo app. So typically it's this, you've got a public directory, you've got a script directory, you've got templates, you've got a T directory and a lib directory. Inside lib, you've got the kata controller. So it's, the naming's not quite right there, but the main app, so this would probably be dub.pm and dub controller. Yeah, when I generated it using the command line tool, that's kind of what I end up with, but I may rename it later. Anyway, so the test, you can see here, it's not too dissimilar to this one. So start off, I'm mocking the data the same way. But this bit here, this is basically the equivalent of all of this. So I quite like it. It does the get request. I didn't have to create that with a, see, there's no call here to HTTP request or anything like that. So I can just get /judges. Status is a 200. The content has add a new judge. The content has Dennis Penfold. The content has GBR, has Katami Nakata, and it has the link. That's nice and tidy. That's really nice. And then the subtest thing, that's me wrapping in, that's from test 2. So I quite like that. That works pretty well. So if we were going to do the next bit, which I should do, I'm going to come down to here and I'm going to do subtest. And I want to do judges. that. I'm using Ferrocode as my font, so I get the nice ligatures. Is that what they're called? Okay. And the next bit, because there's two routes to this, I'm going to do a get request first. That's just sort of personal preference on how I'm doing it. A little later, we'll do a post. The other bit I need to port is that. And what we should see is the tests go horribly wrong. Yep. So let me make that a bit bigger. Yep. So they're both failing for the obvious reason. That the test went there. Cool. Okay. So what we want to do, see, it's quite easy. I'm just porting, so I can just scroll down to here. So this is the equivalent here. And basically, I don't need this. I've done this. I don't need this. And all we're really looking for is something that says that. So what we can pretty simply do is just go, we've already instantiated that. We can do a get. Okay. Judges add. And it should, that's probably, I don't actually have to do any more than that, but let's do it anyway. Status. 200. Now this should fail. Yep. So it's getting a 404, and the reason for that is I haven't got a route to that yet. If I jump across here, these are all the routes in my Kata.pm. See, I have this kind of the Mojo way of doing it. So this is taken straight from the generated stuff. So this isn't really me. So ignore all of this, but get down to here. So yep, this is it, just getting the routes off the app. And then this is me adding a route. So the way this works is that's routes, get slash goes to the home controller, and this is the method index. So what we want to do is down here, we want to add a route for get. And I know you can prefix this, but I'm not. So there's under, I think it is. But just for now, I'm not doing it. I'm going to add a judges add route. And that goes to, and this is where we add the controller. So it'll be my judges controller. And it'll be add, something like that. And this will fail horribly. So it's got a 500, which is what you'd expect because there is no add route in my controller yet. So let's go to the controller, Kata controller judges, and you see I've got an index, but I haven't got an add. So we sub add. And got, it's going to always have self, which is the app itself, I think. This still will fail, I think, because I haven't. Basically, I think the bare minimum you need is self render. Oh. This will still fail because it's going to be looking for a template. So if I go into my templates folder, you'll see there's, I have a judges, so it's templates controller method. Basically, there's an index one, but there's not one for add. So it's an HTML template, and then it has this EP. And then you can see the tests have started passing because it's hunky-dory, sort of. Cool. Okay. So the next thing I can do, let me just see if I can get to the browser. I don't think I've got browsing set up. Let's just fix that. I didn't do a very good job at setting up this morning. This afternoon, even. The browser. Okay, so hopefully this is working. Let's have a look. Yep. Okay, so this is the app you can see there. So basically, this is the Mojo version. So we're just going into here and we're adding Judge and we get a blank screen, which is what I'd expect. That's kind of what it looks like. Let me get a browser inside VS Code. Anyone know? Okay, so what I'm doing, because I'm porting, this isn't too tricky. I can just go to my Dancer 2 version of the app. Get a weird setup here. So Judges, add. And this is what it basically looked like. Probably better if I look at my test first. And all it really did was check for add judge. So let's add that first. Content like we're going to regex and add judge. Once I save that, it'll start failing. Yep. Because the content is not similar. Because my template doesn't have what I want. So let's pull this, copy all of that. And then we can go over to here and paste it in. I have them bindings on VS Code at the moment. Okay, so now it's got judge in there. It's got it here as well, actually, so it's seeing it twice. Now if we go to browsing, to my browser, and we reload this page, we should see some text. Yep. So add judge, bunch of boxes. This is all loaded up nicely, so pretty happy with that. Okay, this stuff is there, but I should probably pull it out at some point, but I'm not going to. Okay, cool. So that's basically my ad route. It's pretty simple. My tests are passing. Manually tested it, so what I'll find is this will fail. Yep, page not found. Good. Mojo by default has these really nice default error messages. So page not found. It's in dev mode, so that's all good. None of these routes could generate a post. So it's nice that it knows all the routes. It's got nice regexes, explanations, all that sort of good stuff, and the naming for these routes, so I can use those later. And then all this lovely information, what was passed through as params. And what was in the log. It's all lovely, very nice. So that's all pretty good. So let's just all of that. I'm trying to keep pretty atomic commits. I don't want it to get too big. So I think I come back to my original test and let's do the post test. So if we look at the original test here, this bit here, you can see what I do is I mock out there's a bit of code that actually writes to the database. So I'm going to mock that out. That's this method add judge. I don't want to show that. So I'm going to mock that out first. And I make a request with these parameters, make a request to the root, and then what I do is I'm just checking for a redirect. It's I'm not checking to see if I write to the database because I'm testing the web app, not the database layer. I have separate tests for the database layer for that method. So it's not a full integration test. Again, you know, a hobby project, but also because I don't want to tie the two things together at this point. I want to have my UI, the web app, and the database code and all that sort of stuff separate, so that if I follow through my plan to disconnect them, I want to make sure I can do that. Yeah. Okay, so let's replicate that test over here. So I'm going to go down to here. Oh, what's that message? Cool. Thanks. Is it John for the retweet saying that I've gone live coding? Thanks for that. So what I want to do is I want to go T, post, okay, to judges, add, and I think, let me just check, I've done this somewhere else, not on this one, so it's here. How do I do it? It's just, then it's this format here because it's form, so it's fat comma form fat comma. Lose that one, fat comma form that, and then a hash. Oops. And what I'm actually looking for this time is going to be a 302. Oops. I'm quite got used to using VS Code, but I'm trying it out for a while. And in my other test, I think it's header-like. Header is like this. I want to say header is location, and this time I want it to go to judges, like that. And this should fail. I haven't got the tests running because there is no post route. Yep. So again, go back to here, go to Carter. I haven't got a post route. And you can see that's pretty simple. So again, we're going to set up a route. It's a post route. It's to judges add, and we're going to send it to judges controller, and the, how did I do this? I think I did it this time. Oops. Add underscore post method, which will again keep failing because that method doesn't exist. So we're going to add a method called add post signature as itself, which is the web app. Curly braces. It won't work. And then we want to do a thing, a redirect. Let's do redirect. How do we do a redirect? It's we want to do that. But we don't want to go to bidders, we want to go to judges. And that test should maybe pass. Yeah. So that's all we need to do to satisfy that. So we go to the browser. This time when we hit this, it should redirect back to this page. So we go add judge, click OK, and then it redirects us back to here. So it goes from judges to judges add to judges again. Cool. So that's what we'd expect. And that's what the test is proving. So test is just proving that. Again, it's not proving that we're actually writing it to the database because that's not what I'm doing. It replicates what we have here. I'm just testing the UI layer. Okay. So let's tidy that up. Don't like the way Perl.Tidy does this. I'd like the status OK and headers to be sort of lined up better, but it's probably a setting for that. Rather than like here where it goes content, those two tests, I'd prefer on independent lines. There's probably a setting somewhere, but I haven't fiddled around with the Perl.Tidy RC file to configure it for that. Cool, so let's make this work. This shouldn't be too bad because I've done all this before. What's this? This is the Carter. We don't need that open anymore. So let's go up to, this is the Dancer 2 app. Judges. We don't want the view, we want this. The post ad. And this is the code here. That's what we want. So this is going into my controller here. We don't actually want this to, well, I do want it. So this is going to be the same. This is going to be the same. This is slightly different. So this becomes, why did I shut the thing that I want? Self-param at this point. So let me just change it. So self-param and then the thing. So in here, so wherever it says that, I want it to say that. And yes, this is repetitive, I appreciate it. We don't want to make too many changes. And the last thing I need to do before I commit this is I need my mock. This one here. Because otherwise it starts actually deleting data, which is never good. So I need this in here. Like that. Oh, I've broken it. I've missed a semicolon. Okay. Okay. So this is just to stop it writing to my actual data file. It's linked. So I'm just mocking it out so it doesn't do anything when we're running the test, because once I add this line, it will actually add a judge, which would be very bad. Okay, so let me just mute for a minute. No, I'll just keep going. My tests are passing still. Go to the browser. Let's pretend I was a Juno Kata expert. And there I am. That worked. My tests are running, so I'm not randomly adding. That's it, really. So that's basically it. You can see it's nice and tidy. I'm instantiating this every time, which I don't need to do. I can probably move that up into here, I'm guessing, into the base application, but not too fussed about that right now. This, I'm sure I could make tidier, but it's not too bad. This, perhaps I don't need to do quite this way either. I really like the test, so I can add these things in really nicely. Cool. That shouldn't be getting picked up, but I think I added it at some point by accident. Cool. Cool. So that's it. It's pretty simple to do. You can see it's not too tricky going from a Dancer 2 to a Mojalicious app. I'm going to type this up at Perl.Kiwi at some point. Let's go here. My timing's out on my camera. So I'm going to do that on the Perl.Kiwi website at some point. Just document as I go along. It's one I didn't find much in the way of how do you do it. So I think it'd be quite an interesting one to put up there. One of the things that's I still need to sort of get my head around, it's interesting, is the way I do this in Dancer 2 somewhere here. You can see here, this is how I build this app in Dancer 2. I have one file called creating the PSGI app called dub, which loads up, and these are the separate applications. So I broke the Dancer 2 app up into, you can see there, half dozen different web apps, which are all mounted on different routes. It's a pattern I learned from, I used at a job. I guess that's the equivalent to this, where, except this is, if I understand this right, actually creating one app. But it's quite tidy, gives me the same sort of flexibility to change routes and push them at controllers. Maybe because I've used the Mojo generator, app generator, this shape, this Mojo shape that you see on the left here, is a little different to what I did in Dancer 2. Dancer 2, I sort of made some logical differentiations. So I split it into the bits that were related to the judo competition, so the judo kata competition, and then put my sort of classes in there, and then had a World Wide Web application, which had multiple applications in here. Mojo is just the default, and I guess Dancer is probably the same if I'd auto-generated that. I didn't generate that when I wrote it by hand. It's perhaps a bit the same, that it's forcing me down a route of kata controller. This should probably be module. I think that's sort of what's probably preferred, but I'm calling it judo because I literally just cut and paste it across. If you have some opinions, let me know. And then, yeah, we've got a public directory, which has just got an index file, which is I'm not even using. It's got a script, which is that basic. This starts the app. So this is probably more like the equivalent of the www.psgi, but I'm not using it the same way, so that's fine. And then the T directory, I really like the testing, and Mojo test is really nice. It's really, really tidy. And then it has a much more obvious templates directory. It's higher up. I'd sort of embed it in lib, which is probably wrong, but hey, and I got a layout for free, which is great. I was just using the basic templating engine in Dancer 2. So if you look here, if you're interested, don't know why I put them here, but I did. Probably trying to keep them inside the app. You have this in Dancer 2. I don't know if there's equivalent in the template for Mojo. What I kind of did, because I probably should have looked more deeply, but competitors, index.html. You can use proper Perl just by prefixing %, so that's how I did it there. And then, I'm using the variables properly like that, like you would in Perl. Swings and roundabouts, had to make some small changes, but it's not too bad. There may be better ways of just doing it, but I haven't bothered to dig into it yet, just trying to move it across and learn as I go. So yeah, cool. Anywho, I'm going to call it there. That was just real quick. What do we do? About 40 minutes, 45 minutes, so 3/4 an hour or so. So yeah, hey, so thanks for tuning in, and any thoughts, drop them at Perl.Kiwi or email, all those good things. Right, thanks, bye.